What's going on, everyone? At the time of recording this video, Russell Westbrook is doubtful for tonight's game against the Denver Nuggets. And with that, there's a lot of questions of, is this the beginning signs or a sign in general of Russell Westbrook no longer being a part of the team, right? He sits out for a hamstring injury for an extensive amount of time. We know Russell Westbrook is a model of just playing games and consistency and being there game in and game out. And even last year, all the games that he missed were because the Lakers purposely sat him. It wasn't because of injury or things like that. Russ, he had the hamstring injury, but he's been fine as of late, or at least been able to play as of late. Whether that's affecting his play at all, I don't know. That could just be an excuse. Maybe it's something. Either way, the fact that he is all of a sudden doubtful for a game after the incident that took place of him, taking that shot and all the questions of his basketball IQ. And is this something that, the Lakers need to panic trade? Like, what do the Lakers do? Do they just send him home? Right? There's all these sort of possibilities that the Lakers could do. And look, I don't think the Lakers should send him home because I don't think the Lakers could really afford it. And I don't mean that in a financial sense. I mean that in a sense of this Lakers team isn't that good to where they can just send home their most highest paid player. Any production is some production from Russell Westbrook, and he has shown a willingness to at least play some solid defense and try to fit in to the best of his ability. And I think even if you just bring Russ off the bench and have him play 10 to 15 minutes a game, that's better than just sending him home to do nothing. Now, I don't think sending him home will affect his trade value in any way because teams aren't trying to trade for him, the player, right? Teams are trying to trade for Russell Westbrook, the contract, and also the Lakers' assets. So I don't think that really matters in any capacity. I think if you did send him home, I don't think it would matter to any of these trade partners or trade candidates, just because I think all of them look at it as we're just going to buy out Russ either way, so who cares? And so I don't think that would be an issue. But I don't think it's a real signal that this is it for Russell Westbrook unless the Lakers look really good. If the Lakers come out against Denver, and not even necessarily if they beat Denver, right? Denver seems to be kind of struggling right now, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that the Lakers beat them today, but I think it matters on just the type of environment and just fire that the Lakers have. If there seems to be a real change and adjustment to the Lakers without Russell Westbrook, then I think that could be a real positive sign, right? I think that could be something of like a lot of people say, just growth and improvement by elimination, right? You unload Russ, and that just automatically just causes a fire under everybody to show that was the problem. And I think that this could be a real test, right? If we don't have Russell Westbrook in tonight's game and it's kind of more of the same, then I think that's a sign that it's not just Russ, it's just the team as a whole. I think also if they come out and they're struggling and stuff like that, I just think it shows okay, it's not really Russ, it's just everybody as a whole. But if they come out and they're blazing and energy's high and guys look good and the guys that are not getting the minutes because of Russ all of a sudden are getting the minutes and they're really balling out and they're really showing out and things are looking great and the Lakers look great and guys are hitting shots and there's just this new sort of feel to the Lakers, then I do think that could be a signal that, hey, maybe they leave Russell Westbrook out for a while. Maybe he misses the game against the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, and then they kind of reevaluate the situation and what is going on. If the Lakers are better without Russ, then maybe they don't really bring Russ back, or maybe they really do start ramping up a trade to move off of Russell Westbrook. I just think it's something to really pay attention to. I don't necessarily think that it's a real sign in the sense of this is it, this is the moment. And I don't necessarily think one game is going to prove it, but I do think it could give us a nice little sort of eye test of okay, is this team really just being held down by Russell Westbrook, or is this team, just a mess right now, and whether they have Russ or not, it doesn't matter, right? And I'm curious to see if the Lakers, let's say they still look terrible. Do the Lakers bring Russell Westbrook back for the Timberwolves game, or do they give it a couple games? Do they give it 3 or 4 games to kind of see what's going on and just kind of see what's happening? And, Russ is quote unquote, recovering from a hamstring injury. I think that that's something that could really happen. Be curious to see, how does LeBron James and Anthony Davis, do they show up more? Do they have a new sort of spark and energy to them? Or are they just kind of playing the same that they are, right? I mean, not that they're playing terrible, but LeBron isn't playing like LeBron, if that makes sense. Like, his numbers and his stats look good, but he's not controlling games. He's taking a lot of bad shots, making a lot of poor decisions. Anthony Davis, Anthony Davis has moments of brilliance, but he's not really keeping it up over an entirety of a game. And we saw the video. I even have it here on the channel as a short, where you see Anthony Davis and LeBron James just throw their hands up and kind of just disgust at Russell Westbrook's shot, that 2-on-1 shot. And a lot of people were really upset and bothered by that, which they should be. It was an inexcusable shot. It was ridiculous, and it's just indefensible, right? I mean, Russ should never have taken that shot. And without Russ in the lineup, does Anthony Davis and LeBron James go, okay, now we don't have to carry Russell Westbrook. Now we don't have to worry about that. We could just go out and play ball. Let's do this. And maybe they have a new fire in them. And I think we're going to see a lot if Russell Westbrook doesn't come. But I do think the Lakers need to, I don't think it's time to just completely panic sell. I don't personally. I think you got to try a couple other things first, right? If Russ doesn't play, that'll give us a good, sort of indicator. Maybe give it a, like I said, couple games, 3-4 games, see what it looks like. If that works, then you kind of have an idea. So maybe you bring them back and you bring them off the bench, right? Instead of starting. If the starting lineup is looking great and they look reinvigorated and everything is right in the world, and maybe then you kind of go, okay, well, maybe let's not bring Russ back and put him in the starting lineup. Let's bring Russ back and have him come off the bench as the 6th man. And if Russ kind of embraces that role, then I think that maybe you could weather the storm a little bit until you can find a better deal. Because the problem is right now too with the Lakers trade is that if the Lakers just try to find a trade right now, right this second, every team knows that, look, the Lakers are desperate. They're 0-3. Let's say they lose to Denver and they lose to Minnesota. They're 0-5 now. And it's okay, we want both first. You want to trade, even if the deal isn't worth it, you're just going to have every team that's just going to want all of the Lakers' assets, because it's what are your other options? And it's just if you don't do this, then you got to still figure out Russ. What, you're going to be 0-20? I don't think they'll be 0-20. I know some people do, but you're going to win a couple games, just guys having bad nights, whatever. But let's say they're 5-15. It's you're a quarter into the season and the season's already over for you. Do you really want to wait that long? It's a real cause for concern. It's a real question. But if the Lakers just panic trade now, you're in trouble. Where if things are working, things look good, you bring Russ back, he comes off the bench, he kind of embraces that bench role. Well, then now you don't have to panic, because you can be hey, look, Russ is thriving off the bench. Russ is thriving as the 6th man. We'll trade him for the right deal, but we don't have to trade him, especially if you rattle off a couple wins, right? Say the Lakers go on a 5-game win streak, right? All of a sudden, that narrative changes. Everything shifts. Now the Lakers aren't in panic mode. Not saying that that they shouldn't do a trade and that all of a sudden everything's right all of a sudden, but it just depends on how they look, how are things going, are guys hitting shots? Look, at the end of the day, as poorly as we have looked and as poorly as we have played, we should at the very least be 2-1, right? You could make an argument that we could be 3-0 if we just hit 10 more threes in that Golden State game, right? I mean, especially in the first half, we should, instead of being down 7, we should have been up double digits at least. You could make an argument if we shot just half decent, we probably would have been up 20. It probably would have been a completely different game. And then the Clipper game we should have won, and then obviously the Blazers game we should have won. That was inexcusable. You're up 7 with like a minute 45 left and you lose. That's just inexcusable. But anyway, I'm curious to see how this shapes up, what ends up happening, how the Lakers look as a whole, how they come out with a new passion, a new fire, things like that, or are they just kind of in the same boat still? It's gonna be interesting. I don't think it's a total like even if the Lakers look great, I don't think it's a complete sign yet. But like if the Lakers, like let's say Russ sits out 3 games and they're killing it those 3 games and the Lakers look great, then yeah, I think the writing's on the wall that like, okay, like maybe we don't bring Russ back and we just try to find a trade ASAP. Just a thought. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think this is a sign? Do you think it's not? Do you think Russ should just sit out? Do you think that they should, have him be, rehabbing that hamstring, quote unquote, for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever they need? Or do you think that, no, like you got to bring him back, got to try to work it out, try to figure it out, whether he comes off the bench, whatever. However you feel, good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comment section below.